Perfect fit closets. How to use alignment tools. We're talking about our dummy helper, or it's called our horizontal dummy helper, or the other DH as our vertical dummy helper. I have my 2020 design open. I'm going to left click my room layout tab, click on a continuous wall, and create a wall. Let's make this one 100 inches wide. I'm going to double click the placement zone and create my elevation. I'm going to go ahead and grab a tall module. I'm going to drop it in. I'll make this in 24 inches wide. Click on OK and just drop. And I'm going to right click on this wall and I'm going to extend this wall, and we're going to say that this is going to be 120-inch tall ceiling height. So what does a dummy helper and a vertical dummy helper do? Well, it lines it up. There are two different ways that I like to use and a lot of our other designers to use to line up our modules. The first way is to right-click the module, drag, and using the placement area on the left-hand side, wall left, center, or wall right, I can specifically indicate that I want this, as an example, 1 inch to the wall to the left. If I'd like a stackable module to be on top of that, we can do the exact same, something very similar. I'll take a stackable module, drag it into my elevation view, go to my farthest working left, and let go of my mouse once I see my magnet. Right-click the illustration. The height that I need is 36 inches or less. Let's just make this one for the time being 31 inches tall. We don't want a bottom, we want a bottom shelf, no bottom shelf, sorry, no toe kick, and 24 inches wide. We'll click on OK. And now what I can do is I can right-click, up and down, right-click again, drag, and I can indicate wall left that I want this to be 1 inch to the wall to the left. So now I'm exactly 1 inch from the wall to the left for both my modules, the stackable as well as the tall module. I'll hit up and down and combine them together. So that's the first way to actually line up your modules so they're both concise and they're both perfectly straight. Here is the other way. Let's drag this over, and let's say I would want this 8 inches from the wall to the left. I'm going to just drag this away. What I can do is I can grab my dummy helper. Underneath our categories modules, at the very bottom of modules and underneath island module, I have my horizontal dummy helper and a vertical dummy helper. If I click on this vertical dummy helper, I can drag the vertical dummy helper in. Once I see my magnet, I'm going to let go of my mouse. And now I've got a fictitious ruler. Left click and drop. You can see my ruler is in place. Now what I can do is, instead of indicating that I want to drag this and say that I want this 8 inches to the left, I can just drag and collide with the dummy helper. So this is my stencil and this is my ruler. I can do the same thing on this section here as well. I can move my dummy helper. I can drag this over. And if I want this placed at this specific location, I can just drag, collides with the dummy helper, drag, collide with the dummy helper, and I am lined up. The same thing applies for our horizontal dummy helper. Instead of going left to right, it's going to go up and down. Here's an example of a horizontal dummy helper. We're going to change this to 31 inches, the same as this module, like so. Click on my variables. Height, we're going to make it at 31 inches. We're going to keep it at 24 inches wide, but we're going to subtract the bottom shelf. And we're going to subtract the toe kick. So we got the exact same two modules. Now let's say that I wanted this to be lined up perfectly at a specific height. I can left click my horizontal dummy helper, drag it in and drop. So once it's dropped, I can click drag. I can click on up and down. to this specific location. Perhaps I want this specifically located 24 inches from the bottom. Once I've got this in place, let's just drag it down just a bit more, up and down, 23 inches from the bottom. So from this point, at the very top of the helper is 24 inches from the top to the very bottom. Now I can just right click up and down, and now I have a ruler. And now I'm perfectly lined up using my dummy helper. So again, there's two different ways to use it. You can use the placement zone and give it a specific dimension, or you can certainly use these horizontal or dummy helpers to move things around and make sure that all your modules are lined up. If you have any questions, please do contact us at support@perfectfitcanada.com. And this concludes our how to use the alignment tools using our dummy helper, horizontal or vertical.